Today, we have a brand new update from OpenClaw. You can see it right here. It was literally just announced a couple of hours ago. This is a brand new release. And you can see this now supports Cloudflare AI Gateway support. It's got a Moonshell provider, aka China, and Kimmy 2.5. We've got Cron, which announced its own summary. So I'm going to be walking you through what each of these means, right? Now, OpenClaw is a free AI assistant. You can also set it up for free. I can show you today if you have any questions, if you're watching live, etc. And I'm going to walk you through exactly how this works. So you can see all the changes right here. I've actually got a full guide already on this new update inside the AI Profit Boardroom, which we'll come on to in a second. And essentially, we're going to get it set up and start installing it today. All right. Now, you might be wondering, okay, like, what do these new changes mean? Let me break it down for you. So this is the new release, as you can see right here. And OpenClaw, if you're not already aware, is your own sort of ChatGPT or Claude that lives inside your messaging app. So, instead of you switching to a separate AI interface, you can just text WhatsApp or Telegram or Slack or Discord, and your AI assistant responds, right? Now, you control it, you host it. It can work across all your devices if you prefer. You can also even have it inside a WhatsApp group chat. You might be wondering, okay, like, what do the new updates mean? Well, for example, now you can schedule AI tasks to run automatically. You've got a full new skill system, and I'm going to be walking through exactly how to set it up step by step today. A lot of people think you need like your own sort of Mac Mini, for example, to set this up. You don't. You can run this on an old computer, old laptop, etc. And we're going to be running through exactly how to use it today. So let's get straight into this, and I'll show you how it works step by step. So here's the GitHub page, and if we go to OpenClaw over here, you can see an example of it. And what we're going to be doing first of all is making sure that we get the terminal set up with using this. I'm actually going to uninstall my old version just to install this new version. Number one, to show you how easy it is. But number two as well, because it tends to be easier, especially if I'm on a live stream. Otherwise, like Maltbot, OpenClaw, Clawbot, whatever you want to call it, can break quite easily. So how do you uninstall it? Let me show you how to do that. And then I'll show you how to quickly set it up yourself. So you can just stop and remove the daemon like this. Then you can copy this. All these instructions are inside the AI Profit Boardroom. Link in the comments description if you don't have it already. Then we're going to uninstall this from our terminal, like you can see. And then once we've done that, we can start getting this set up. The way that you can load in the new update, which you can see was just announced a few hours ago on February the 5th. They even had their first ClawCon, which is pretty crazy. I'll come on to that later. We can just go to OpenClaw here. We can clone this, like you can see. There we go. And then we're just going to copy these commands right here. Then it's going to give you the onboarding, as you can see right here. I'm going to go with quick start. If you want a free way to use this, I've got 3 different free ways to use this inside the AI Profit Boardroom. So you can see there's 3 different free methods, as you can see right here. You can even get ChatGPT Codex, which is available for a limited time only, for free to use this too. And I'm going to go with Minimax. We're going to go with OAuth Global. And you can get a 7-day trial of Minimax coding and then set this up for free. We can authorize that. We've pulled in the new update. Then we're going to go back to terminal. We can keep the current. I'm not going to link it to any messaging apps for now. And, if you want like a more secure way of setting this up, I would just go with, skipping that for now. And you can just host it locally so that no one else can access it, right? Some people have been worried about how to set up securely, etc. This is an easy way to just run it locally so that it is more secure than having it on WhatsApp or Telegram or anything like that, particularly if you're not technical. The other cool thing about doing this, as you can see right here, is that I can set it up whilst I'm talking to you, open it up, and boom, shakalaka. In literally a couple of minutes, we've just set that up, right? If we say hey to it, we can start chatting with it now, and you can see it's responded. It did actually take, I thought for a second there it hadn't actually worked, but you can see here it is working now, so that's beautiful. So that was pretty easy to install. If you want to know, okay, like, what do these changes mean? What does all this mean? Let me break it down for you in a simplistic way, in a simplified way, right? And you can see this was just announced 10 hours ago, and then on Twitter, I think there are even more updates, as you can see. So we'll come on to that in a second. So here are the meaningful changes to this new update. So you can see here, number 1, cron scheduled jobs. Jobs now default to announce delivery mode instead of posting to your main channels. They also delete automatically after running, unless you want to keep them going. and you get less duplicate messages. On top of that, they've added new provider support. Now, this is quite powerful. You can add Cloudflare AI gateway integrations, and they've added Moonshot Provider, right, for China-based users with a CN domain. On top of that, they've added more security updates, like you can see right here. So, for example, WhatsApp login tool is now restricted to owner accounts only, stricter credentials, etc., better sandboxing for media files. And then also they've cleaned up some of the Telegram integrations, and they've had some UI fixes too. So for example, the agent model selection now saves properly, new message indicators, etc. So basically, one of the main points of this is more like a security release. Okay, so the cron system changes to the biggest functional difference. Scheduled tasks are cleaner now with less noise, etc. And I think a lot of people have been worried about this. So this helps fix more of the problems. Sticky says, what are you doing? I do not understand. So right now what we are doing, my friend, is we are installing the new update of OpenClaw, right? This was just released 10 hours ago. It's brand new today. It literally just came out, and I'm showing you how to set it up and install it in literally 2 minutes, as I've already shown you today. All right. Now, if you want to know exactly what the updates are, I'm going to copy this full guide into the AI Profit Boardroom, as you can see, and you can get access to this guide, as you can see right here in the SOP update section. Okay, so we've also got like a full course on how to use this stuff. A lot of people ask me like, what are the use cases? What are the use cases? Let me walk you through some of the cool stuff that you can do with this, right? We've actually got a 6-hour course, as you can see right here. But the key differences versus regular AI is that it lives in your messaging apps, not a website you visit. It remembers everything across conversations with the memory ID file. It can take actions on your computer, so it can actually like work with local files. It can work 24/7 if you want it to. It's self-hosted, so you control more of your data. And you can actually use it for free, as I've shown you today. There are different options and different APIs you can install this. So for example, Claude Opus is the GOAT. It's just the best API I've ever seen. But a lot of people struggle with that because it can be quite expensive, right? So what you can actually do is you can get free access to ChatGPT Codex OS and get that set up if you want to with OAuth, and it will automatically set up for you. You could also, for example, use Kimi K2.5, or you could even use Olama, right? And you host Olama locally, and then you link it to Kimi K2.5, which is a cloud API, but it's free within the token limits. Then you can connect it to Telegram, WhatsApp, Discord, etc., and you can install skills, right? So if we come back to this new installation of OpenClaw that we've got right here, what we can actually do here is we can start setting up skills inside here, right? So for example, let's say I want to generate videos, podcasts, images with one skill setup. I use something called Skillboss. This is a paid plugin. But it's one thing that links like 50 APIs to it. All right. And PJ says the real question is if it's doing the task until the end, it gives updates, or just says it's doing it, but you need to message it every time. So that depends on the way that you set it up. I would say the skill of OpenClaw comes down to the skill of the user. The better you understand this technology, which comes from practice and reps, the better quality outputs you get from it, right? So the way that I use OpenClaw now, the way that I can set it up and maneuver with it is so much faster. And that's why I can set it up in like 2 minutes now versus the first time I used it, which took me like an hour, right, to get my head around. So you can just connect to it way faster. Is there any issues connecting it to OpenAI or Anthropic OAuth? Yeah, I wouldn't. Number one, do not connect it to Anthropic OAuth. You can set it up to, I've set it up to OpenAI OAuth. If you're not comfortable doing that, or you don't feel good about that, or you don't want to do it, etc., then you could set up with Kimi K2.5. Right, and you can use Olama with that. We've got full guide inside there, Profit Boardroom. Or what you could also do is set it up with Minimax OAuth, which is what we've done today, right? And it's actually designed for that because it's set up so that you can quickly use Minimax OAuth. And if you use Minimax OAuth in the setup as I did today, you automatically get 7 days free on the coding plan, right? So it's actually designed for that stuff. So we're going to go back to the chat here now, and I'm going to say, okay, let's install Skillboss. How do we do that? So we can go to skillboss.console, as you can see right here. And then we shall grab this installation instruction for OpenClaw over here. All right. So we're going to open OpenClaw. Like this. And then we're going to copy that. Then we're going to go over to OpenClaw inside the gateway, which you can see is hosted locally over here. We're going to copy this. And then I'm going to say it's inside my downloads folder. All right. and we'll ask it to install this. Now, if this doesn't work first time around, you can either get Claude Code to help you set it up, or you can get ChatGPT Codex OS to set it up, right? ChatGPT Codex OS is free to use right now. It's on a limited time only sort of free option. So you can see it's now asking to access my downloads folder, so it can access local files. I'm going to click on allow that so that it can access the skillboss.zip and start installing it inside OpenClaw. And Leanne says, so MemoBot versus Nanobot versus OpenClaw, which one is the best? All right, great question. So OpenClaw is by far the best. I've tried them all, I've tested them all. I absolutely love OpenClaw, right? That is the one that I prefer. Then I would say the MemoBot comes in second. Nanobot is a very lightweight version of this stuff, right? So I would put that in last, just because it has less power. It can do basic things. You can set it up quickly. I've got a video on that. But I would say that OpenClaw is by far the best and most powerful out of all of them, right? What I would also say, though, is the MemoBot is the easiest to set up because you just download the file and then you set up with Telegram directly. So we've got this now installed. Boom shakalaka. What does that mean? Well, we can ask it, what can you do now? Based on Skillboss, right? So if you want to understand what your OpenClaw can do, a lot of people ask me, what are the best use cases? And I would say some of my favorite use cases for this stuff, right? If I had to break it down, it can publish blog posts, communicate via Telegram, create AI avatar videos, voice notes, send emails, organize calendar, blah, 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 right? It can do all these sort of crazy stuff. Now, if we go back inside the gateway here, I'm just going to say, what can you do now based on Skillboss? Because I know Skillboss connects it to like 50 different skills. It's got a bunch of automations. I actually built an e-commerce website with it this morning in like one single prompt using anti-gravity. So we're going to test this inside OpenClaw as well. And now you can see all sorts of crazy stuff that it can do. So for example, it can build and deploy websites. It can deploy to Cloudflare workers, right? It can set up Stripe directly. It can generate images, audio, video, chat, right? It's got 50 different LLMs connected to it, which is pretty crazy. It can generate emails, so it can send emails, and it can create pitch decks and slide decks via Gamma AI as well. This is all with one single skill setup. We can also do web scraping. We can extract data, search across the web, etc. We can do developer tools, etc. And it's like, what do you want to build? Do you want to generate a logo, an email, a video, etc. Right? So if I say, okay, create a logo for the AI Profit Boardroom, a podcast about it, and a quick animation video about it, right? And then what I'm going to do over here is we're going to go to the AI Profit Boardroom. I'm going to grab all this information about my AI automation community, like you can see. We're going to go back to OpenClaw, and then we're going to paste this underneath. We'll plug that in. I've given it context about what the AI Profit Boardroom is, as you can see right here. And then it should be able to do all three of these jobs at the same time. Okay. Now, if you don't want to install Skillboss, you don't have to, right? You could, for example, if you want to generate like free animations, then you could just say install the Remotion skill and then get the GitHub for Remotion. If you wanted to generate images directly, well, you could use something like AI Studio for generating that. If you wanted to scrape the web for free, well, you could get a free API key for Brave Search and then plug that in to OpenClaw as well, right? So it's got all these powers that you can use. You just have to unlock them. Now, once we're waiting for that to load, let's have a look what's on the left-hand side here. So we've got nodes, as you can see right here, right? So we've got all these different nodes that we can use. And then we also have the skills, right? So skills are like these things that you can install that just augment OpenClaw itself to make it more powerful. Now, the more skills you set up, the better it becomes. Now, for me, I often uninstall this and then reinstall it because I'm showing it on live stream, the new updates. So for me, like, I don't keep these skills set up. But imagine if you just install one of these skills every single day for a month, right? You'd basically make it like 100 times more powerful, right? With a combination of all of these. So if we go back to the chat now, it's beginning to implement all of these, as you can see. You might see some errors whilst it's generating this, and that's okay. But basically what it's going to do is just start generating each of these options, right? You just have to wait a couple of minutes for it to begin generating and finishing it off. You can also see here that you can save workflows to the process. So for me, for example, one thing that we've actually been doing recently with it, which you can see for this website, is we've started creating more and more SEO content, right? So we link it to WordPress. We give it the login details and the API for WordPress for my website, juliangoldie.com. And then I'll just say like create an SEO article for this article, and then it will just publish it directly to WordPress. And you see the traffic since OpenClaw was released went from like 200 clicks a day to a peak of 782 clicks a day. Pretty insane. And the way that we do this again is like you just go inside here, you would say, okay, can you set a WordPress for me, blah, 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 right? How much of a change does OMD make to performance? How is it implemented? I'm not sure what you mean by OMD. Maybe I'm just not aware of the abbreviation there, but I'm not sure what you mean. Would you recommend VPS setting, or should I set it up on a mic, right? So here's what I'd recommend. When you're setting this up, I would highly recommend that you install it locally. Don't use a VPS, right? The reason that I don't recommend using a VPS is that these pages can get scraped, right? So your gateway page for logging in remotely to that VPS can get scraped by other things on the internet, right? And then other people can access your Claude bot. That's no bueno, right? So what you want to do instead is just make sure that you install this locally instead, all right? Way better to do. How much of that traffic is from the new articles OpenClaw created? I haven't measured that exactly. Myself and Kazra Dash, we actually did a live stream together where we created the content you can see on this page for Best SEO Speakers 2026. And you can see we're already ranking number 3 on the first page for that keyword. We actually ranked within 12 hours using Claudebot, using that process, all right? So we ranked really quickly with that. We already had some momentum on the site, so that definitely helped. But the main point here is like it can create content that wants to rank, right? Now, you can see here that it is now generated the logo and the podcast, right? And the video generation, of course, will take a few minutes. So it says it will take about 2 to 4 minutes, and it will let me know once it's ready. So if we go inside here, right, and we say, okay, open up the logo, and boom, look at that. We just got a new logo created with OpenClaw. Pretty crazy, all right? If we wanted to open up the podcast, you can see that we've got the podcast set up right there, right? And the video as well. So this is the video too. And you can see we've created the video animation for the AI profit boardroom as well, right? Pretty crazy stuff. So you can see how powerful this is. We literally set this up in the space of a few minutes, just whilst I was talking to you as well. So it's pretty simple. Let's see what else we got here. So Ari says, can you recommend a free API key that allows me to use in local machine and free of cost AI? Yeah, I can show you 3, right? But not using API keys. Instead, what you're going to be using is these methods, right? We've got a full guide inside the AI Profit Boardroom. So link in the comments description, or go to aiprofitboardroom.com. Go to the SAP update section here. Inside the Moltbot course, we do have a 3-hour course on this stuff and a 6-hour course right here. If you scroll down on this page, right, and then you have a look at these methods, we've actually got 3 different methods that you can use. They're not using API keys. Instead, what it's using is OAuth, right? So you can use, for example, Olama with Kimi K2.5 Cloud. You can use Minimax OAuth and the 7-day trial, or you can use the limited time only method of ChatGPT Codex for free as well. Mauricio says, are you running OpenClaw using LLMs locally, or are you hosting them in another place? I'm not comfortable on using it with private models, right? So like I said, if you want to just plug in your own API key, you can, right? Any API key almost. So for example, if you want to use OpenAI's API keys or Claude's API keys, you can use those instead, right? If you don't want to use local private models. Aaron says, are you having OpenClaw generate the images for the WordPress article as well? If so, Nana Banana, yes, you can do. I think I did on a couple of articles. I didn't master the process, just being 100% transparent with you. I don't want to, mislead you there. I want to be 100% honest with you and tell you that the images that we created directly inside the articles were not up to my standards. However, you can see that the logo we created today was actually looking pretty nice, all right? And I would probably use something like Skillboss instead to create those sort of articles. So that's basically it for me. You can see what the new update is, how it works, how to install it, how to set it up for free, how I install it in like 2 minutes, and then how I quickly put in a skill that can link it to like 50 other APIs in a one-click install, right? Using this process. So pretty simple and easy. Let's see what else we got here. Shout out from Northwest Oregon coast. Hi, Julian. Welcome. AI with Bobby. Thank you very much for joining. Aaron says, thanks, man. Appreciate these live streams and your transparency. Always happy to help. Last Century Motivation says, are you running OpenClaw on your local computer or a VPS? If on VPS, how did you manage to get the UI set? Right. So as you've seen today, we set this up inside our terminal, right? So it's running locally. You can see it's running on a local gateway right here, right? So like I always say, I don't recommend setting it up on a VPS, because if you set it up on a VPS and you can access it remotely, then someone else can access it remotely. And that's no bueno, right? So instead, what I recommend is that instead you use local, right? Now, AI with Bobby says, would you use a virtual machine or a Docker setup? So if you want a much more secure way of setting this up, then you can use Docker. And the way that I did that was with Maltworker. You can see a full guide right here with a video tutorial, right? You can set up Maltworker, Claude on Cloudflare with Maltworker. What that does is it sets it up with Docker directly, and then it sets it up in a sandbox. People have to get an email verification code to log in. Plus, when they're using it, you have to approve anyone before they can start using it, right? So if you set this up in Maltworker, that's an easier way to set this up in a more secure way, right? And then also the cool thing about that is it is running from the cloud, and so it's running 24/7, right? It's not running locally, so you don't have to keep your laptop on all day to use it. Rod says, insane as always, my friend. So thanks so much for watching. That's basically the update, how it works, how to set up, how to quickly get it installed. You can see proof of it working right now. You see how quickly it is to set up. Honestly, it took me ages to figure out, okay, what's the easiest, fastest way to do it? That is by far the easiest, fastest way to do it. If you do the uninstall process, just make sure before you do that, you download any sort of memory files or anything like that. So you can ask for an export of the memory MD file if you've been using it before, and all the configuration files first before you uninstall it. I just uninstall it each time because then it works quicker on a live stream, and I can quickly uninstall it and install it in like 2 minutes. Boom. So thanks so much for watching. If you want to get access to this, you can get it with all the guys. You can get that inside the AI Profit Boardroom. This is my AI automation community. It comes with an amazing supportive community that's very helpful, and we all help each other and raise each other up. So you can see, for example, Matt commented here asking this, and then he got like 18 people helping him, right? You can see people are always online inside this community. So if you want to meet cool people who are serious about this stuff, doing similar things, you can get that inside the AI Profit Boardroom. You can also see that it's not just me winning with this stuff. So for example, we've got, for example, Cindy crushing it. You've got Abdullah, who built his first automation using NA10. Shout out to Abdullah. That's awesome. You've got, for example, Joseph, who created his own vibe coding stuff, which is pretty cool. You've got Steve Light crushing it with a YouTube AI challenge. So it's not just me that's winning with this. If you want to scale up, if you want to save time, if you want to automate your business, check out the AI Profit. You can also get 4 weekly coaching calls per week. And then also inside the classroom, you can see all of my best trainings. So if you want to go from beginner to expert in just 5 weeks, plus learn how to set up your first AI agent in 5 minutes, we've got it right here. If you want to learn how to automate X, which I do personally, AI avatar videos, screen shares with AI, shorts, Instagram, etc., you can get that inside here. You can get all the Clawbot guides, including a 6-hour course on OpenClaw, plus a Maltbot course right here as well. And you can see how to set up Maltworker as well. And pretty much everything that I learn about OpenClaw, I put it inside this section right here. And then also, if you miss any of the coaching calls, you can watch them. If you want to get more clients, you can check out the agency course. If you want to learn how to rank #1, you can check out the AICO automations here. And also, if you want to grow a YouTube channel based on what's working for me, you can get that right here. So link in the comment description, or just go to aiprofitboardroom.com. What else we got here? PJ says, thank you for the live. Always happy to help. AI with Bobby says, going to check it out. Thanks again. Always happy to help. And then Norbert says, is MemoBot better than Claude? I wouldn't say so at this point, right? MemoBot is pretty cool. It's very simple to set up. The cool thing about it is you don't need to use your terminal to set it up, which I think is a big plus for a lot of people watching this. But otherwise, I would say, just use OpenClaw because it is super powerful. It can set up a lot of cool things quickly, and you can see how powerful it was today.